Real 91.5 WDBK, you are tuned into the Radio Rescue. I am your host, DJ Z. I'm here every Tuesday night spinning the best in old school, underground, independent, and real hip-hop, funk, jazz, soul, R&B, reggae, or anything that falls in those type of genres. And right now on the phone with me, I have Proto Man. What's going on, bro?
Chillin', Z. What's good with you?
Not much, man. So, we definitely gonna have to hit all aspects with this interview because I don't even know you that well, but I know the listeners probably don't know you. So why don't we start with where you're from?
I'm from South Florida, a little north of Miami and Fort Lauderdale. That's where I spent the majority of my time coming up and doing music. But just recently I've been reaching out. I've been in Cali for the past 2 months, but I plan on heading back to Florida pretty soon.
All right, so Florida is where you're based, where you're originated from?
Yeah, that's where everything goes down. That's where I record mostly and do like a lot of the hometown shows and work with artists. A lot of dope local cats down there. And yeah, that's my spot right there. That's home.
Gotcha. So now, let's start with the basics. Why do you have the name Proto Man?
I don't know. You know, I used to take some, experimenting and doing drugs here and there. And I remember watching Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas one night, and one of the lines clicked in my head. And one of the characters was referring to the other character, and he said something about, there goes one of God's own prototypes. And I was like, that's pretty cool. It's kind of like somebody with some flaws, maybe not all humans have, and kind of like an experiment. And then around that same time, I was traveling a lot too, and I was riding on a Greyhound bus, I think from Texas back to Florida, and we stopped in some bogus little snack shop, and they had an old school arcade game there, and it was a Mega Man arcade game, and
really?
It brought back a lot of memories of when I was a kid, because I saw the character Proto Man, and he was kind of an experiment of Mega Man, and like wasn't all right upstairs, had a few screws missing. So I don't know, just kind of clicked. And especially when you're coming up with a moniker in hip hop, you need some kind of superhero ego for people to kind of latch onto. So I thought it was pretty suitable to go with Proto Man.
That makes sense, and it seems very marketable. Yeah, it's actually surprising to me. I mean, I wasn't a diehard Mega Man fan. I think I had like the first 2 or 3, but I didn't even know the character was Proto Man, and that's pretty awesome to me. I think that's kind of funny too.
Yeah, it's pretty rad, man. I just hope I don't ever get like sued for it or anything. It's been okay thus far.
Well, you just take it as it comes, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, so your name's Proto Man. You're from Florida. How old are you?
I'm 23 right now.
Are you really 23? Because you had to think about it.
Well, I guess I'm going on 24 in a little while, so yeah, I'm not gonna lie on the age. I actually look like I only shave once a year, so I still have the baby face, but yeah, I'm 23 going on 24, 23 and a half.
Gotcha. Well, first of all, how'd you get introduced to hip-hop music?
I used to skateboard back in the day, and I mean, I've always listened to like what's popping on the radio. Back in the day, the radio was hot. Whatever MTV was playing and what was on the radio, it was good rap and hip-hop, like that was what we grew up on. And then it came to a time like in the late 90s when it kind of fell off, and what was being pushed out and marketed was not that good, quality-wise.
Yep.
So thank God I didn't, go that route, but with skateboarding came a lot of dope skateboarding videos, and a lot of independent, stuff was going on at that time. So I was exposed to a lot of underground music and a lot of tracks that were, totally different from what was being put on mass media at the time. So, my first experience of, real hip-hop, seeing it as an alternative, to the radio and the music videos was definitely through, like, the underground skateboard culture and stuff like that.
Right. So now, okay, you're exposed to it. What made you decide to start making it?
Oh, I just loved it, man. I loved, finding how graffiti and DJing and b-boying was all, joined up with MCing, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. So believe it or not, man, rapping was like the last thing I ever wanted to do. Like I tried b-boying, but wasn't that raw with it, and I wrote for a little bit, but I never really got into the whole spray paint. I was just throwing up little tags and labels, and
right.
DJing back then at that time was just way too expensive to get gear, and cats were of course still buying vinyl, and we're talking about $5 a vinyl pop when you're 13 years old. It just wasn't happening. So I was like, what, let me try and give rapping a try. And I was going to school at that time, and it just kind of popped off, and I just stuck with it.
So we know how you got exposed. We know why it made you do what you do. who were you inspired by? Who would you say are your top, you know?
Well, yeah, ultimately there's always, of course, I think everybody kind of shares the same list, you know, like I was obsessed, you know, with the old school because I felt like I had to play catch up with a lot of dope music that came out. So, you know, KRS-One was always a big influence for me, and it was so dope to know, you know, this cat's rhymes back and forth, and then, you know, later meet him and actually kind of we did like a tribute song and video for him that he got to see and play on one of his tours. And Rakim was definitely someone who showed you how to, you know, innovate the style.
Yep.
And showed me what cats were, you know, capable of back in the early 90s.
Right.
And when I'm peeping him out, you know, 10 years later, and still cats can't mess with him on his style status. And then you know, the originators like Kool G Rap, you know, and Big Daddy Kane, just all like the New York, you know, innovative cats I kind of latched onto and looked as an influence, you know.
Why do you think that, being that you're from Florida, that you found yourself more attracted to, you know, East Coast, New York hip-hop rather than, like, I mean, during the time?
That's all that there is here, man. Like, people don't understand South Florida. Like, it's not dirty South down here. Like, it's literally like New York and just hot weather year round. Like, we get so many New York transplants that come down here from New York, you know, to enjoy the weather. And we have all these islands. We got, you know, the DR and you know, Puerto Rico, and those cats grew up, you know,
right,
listening to East Coast hip hop. You know, you got Big Pun, who's, you know, is just monster icon, you know, and you would be surprised. I mean, we do got our Tricks and we do got our Rick Rosses, but, you know, we still love them cats too, and they still hip hop to us too, you know.
Right.
I don't know about Rick Ross nowadays. I really don't mess with him since the whole thing blew over. But you can't deny that he can rap. You know what I'm saying? When all of the BS, you know, hits the fan, and, you know, it's still hip hop down here. I think Northern Florida can't say that, but definitely South Florida can. It's kind of two different worlds, definitely, when it comes to hip hop.
All right, so now we got what inspired you, and you mentioned a couple names, but I mean, now, I mean, you can go back to the beginning or you can go to today. Give me what would be like your top 5 favorite MCs.
You know what? Today, I'm a totally different person than I was years ago. Like I said, I'm just shy of 24, and I got started recording and writing when I was young, you know, 13, 14, and I've nowadays, like, honestly, like, I don't even check a lot of times for newer music that's coming out. You know, I'm still listening to my old school classics, and
me too.
You know, just people that are in my camp and people that I chill with and, you know, collab with. I'm always checking for them, but I don't know, I've kind of lost a lot of faith in new music that's come out. But I mean, there's always a few exceptions of people that I check for, you know, and always like, you know, Def Jux and on like in the West Coast, Stone's Throw, like those are still independent labels that have transitioned into this whole digital era and that are still standing on their strong foundation. And anything that comes out of those cats, you know, or, you know, those camps I'm still listening to. But like honestly, I couldn't even name you like my top 5 now right now. Like, that's how I guess I am to the game right now.
That's actually original and honest and something different, because, you know, usually I got people going and everybody has to mention that it's not a definitive list because, you know, they might change their opinion or whatever. All right,
yeah,
so
definitely, man. Like, I mean, I've always just had, you know, my favorite MCs, and I guess it just hasn't changed over the years. Even though maybe they haven't released new material, I still don't think anybody else can mess with it to knock her off top 5 spot or whatever you call it.
I feel you. All right, so tell us about your music. Who would you compare if somebody asked you, you know, what kind of music you do? Obviously, you're gonna tell them hip hop, but who would you say you sound like?
I don't know. You know, I get compared a lot. Like, when I was younger, I always had like the Eminem comparisons because I could kind of, you know, spit and rhyme words pretty well. And like, I guess cats were used to that because people were kind of, you know, Diddy and Mason style and just rhyming little 1 syllables and stuff. And of course, being a white kid, but I don't know, man. I guess you gotta kind of ask around, like who I, you know, kind of sound like or resemble. But I mean, it's just straight hip hop. Like, probably over half the tracks you're gonna hear, you know, DJs cutting in on it, and, you know, it's a lot of boom bap and it's a lot of sample driven, a lot of jazz, and people been getting into more like you know, the distorted, you know, keyboard, kind of gloomy, like what if somebody could rhyme like on a 9 Inch Nails beat type tip. And, you know, it's just being really diverse. Like, you know, every MC is always known for a particular style, but we try and always evolve it so it keeps people on their toes and interested, and, you know, just gain new fans, gain gain new ears. But you're always just gonna get some fresh rhymes and dope beats, point blank.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now I think we definitely have to mention the fact that originally we were supposed to do this interview a little bit earlier, but it didn't happen because we didn't think ahead and realize that we were both in different time zones at the moment. Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell the people where you're at right now and what you're doing?
I've been in Cali. I've been recording with a producer by the name of Sabino. We were doing the whole internet, send me a beat and I'll send you a verse and we'll rearrange the beat, and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like we were having fun. So I was like, you know what, let me just come out there for a few months and let's just record everything there. So I've been in Cali, just been networking and been recording one-on-one.